Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sophie Erber.
And I'm Tim Seaman. Police announced an arrest in connection with a New Year's Day shooting here in Sioux City that left an 18-year-old woman dead.
Detectives telling us they were able to connect 19-year-old Christopher Morales and a firearm to the shooting that happened on Walker Street. Details and more on the arrest in our top story at 6. Morales tonight charged with intimidation with a dangerous weapon and going armed with intent in conjunction to this shooting. Additional charges are pending tonight based on the results of forensic examinations of evidence collected at that scene.
Now, Morales was arrested Sunday afternoon in the 1900 block of Douglas Street and was in possession of a firearm. He fled officers after they approached him. Detectives say that they are still searching for information on additional suspects that were involved in the shooting and continue to ask for the public's help. Now, as police pursue leads of the case, friends of the 18-year-old woman killed in that shooting cope with the loss.
KCAU 9 News reporter Mallory Smith speaking with some of those friends earlier today.
Friends and family are mourning the loss of an 18-year-old Mia Critis, who was fatally shot at a New Year's Eve party. Friends and co-workers of the 18-year-old girl are speaking out on her behalf.
She was a very caring person. Like I said, she made it a point to get close to everyone, and she was one of those people that loved so much and gave so much that, you know, you worry about what they're doing for themselves.
She was just the brightest person. You walked in the room and
she was already laughing and smiling.
Like genuinely, without like trying, like she wasn't even trying. She was just like being her.
Sioux City police counted at least 27 rounds that were fired off at the house. Police say an estimated 20 to 25 people were at the party at the time of the shooting.
Just a heartbreaking feeling, knowing I won't ever see her smiling again. It's hard for me to go back in the kitchen because that's where I'd see her the most. And knowing that I can go back there expecting to see her, she's not going to be there, really tears me up inside.
Just with what's going on right now in the world, we need people like Mia. We need people that will motivate even in the toughest times.
Yeah, that just genuinely want to help.
Yeah.
Police tonight arresting 19-year-old Christopher Morales of Sioux City. He's facing one charge of intimidation with a weapon and going armed with intent. In Sioux City, Mallory Smith, KCAU 9 News.
In their first meeting of the new year, the Woodbury Board of Supervisors going over the budget for 2022. One of those items being considered is a $500,000 allocation to Siouxland District Health Department. Supervisors tonight acknowledging that the department's role is extremely crucial during an ongoing pandemic, but also saying there is excess funding that the department does not need. We will have the full details from the board meeting coming up tonight here at 10.
Also today, in a closed-door meeting, the Woodbury County Jail Authority, along with members of the Board of Supervisors and the Sheriff's Department, all taking a look into the blueprints of a new law enforcement center in the works. The authority says it plans to have that project ready for construction to begin as soon as spring rolls around. And it looks like our mild streak of January weather, not exactly spring-like, but cooling off to be winter-like.
That's right, and it's about to be cut short, Tim. We check in now with meteorologist Marcus Beasley for what Siouxland can expect for tomorrow.
That's right, Sophie. Very nice day today as well. We had temperatures in the upper 30s and lower 40s, but it does look like tonight and into tomorrow we are going to see things really changing. 40 degrees today was our recorded high in Sioux City, 43 in Lamar's, 39 in Storm Lake, Spencer, and Orange City, as well as Yankton today, 41 for your recorded high in Norfolk today. Overnight tonight, we'll see temperatures drop down into the lower 30s, so really not too cold at all for this time of year. But we are going to see a little bit of a wintry mix moving in overnight tonight and tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be a snowy Wednesday throughout Siouxland. I'll have more details on what that forecast is looking like coming up in the 9 on 9. Tim?
All right, Marcus, thanks. Drivers will be out on those roads, but they'll have to have a license. And if yours is about to expire, you have until Friday to renew it without a penalty. The governor's proclamation that suspended that requirement is set to expire this Friday. And then that is if Governor Reynolds does not extend it. The governor does have a press conference set for tomorrow. We can get more details. Right now, the DOT offices are not accepting walk-ins, so you have to make an appointment ahead of time. Most locations are about 2 weeks out, so they should have some availability in mid-January. DOT employees advise folks to check for appointments first thing in the morning. That's the best time, they say. You may be able to renew it online as well, but that's not a guarantee. You have 60 days after the printed expiration date to get a new license.
The 2021 legislative session in the state of Iowa officially begins next week after the pandemic created a whole laundry list of issues and delays last year. State Senator Jim Carlin says he plans to bring more bills to the table this session than ever before, like recruiting more minority teachers into Iowa's classrooms to raise proficiency for scores. State Senator Jackie Smith also saying she hopes issues like mental health and the child care crisis will take priority this session.
We got pretty far on that last year, and there was bipartisan support for giving more assistance to working families as far as child care reimbursement and helping to pay for it.
Carlin and Smith say they hope virtual meetings will prevent any disruptions, which allow lawmakers more time to get bills on the table.
In the meantime, COVID numbers locally in Siouxland continue to grow. Woodbury County health officials recording 43 new cases in just the last day. However, the county's 14-day positivity rate is almost 16%. Meanwhile, Plymouth County tonight with 3,400 total cases and a positivity rate of 15%.
In Nebraska, Dakota County with 7 additional deaths reported today. That is a total now of 65 COVID-19 fatalities. There are also 2 new positive tests coming back today. And in South Dakota, Union County reporting 158 active cases. Lincoln County reports 532 active cases.
Well, virus concerns aren't putting a stop to a long-time tradition on Iowa's Great Lakes. The countdown is on for the 41st University of Okoboji Winter Games. Events such as a broomball, flag football, softball, and different bags tournaments all still set to take place outdoors. Those attending this year will be strongly encouraged to wear face coverings, practice social distancing, and numbers of people at specific events will be limited. The Iowa Great Lakes Chamber of Commerce says a major push for this tradition is to help support small businesses.
They really rely on off-season things as well. It's just a great shot in the arm to have, one weekend in the winter that almost feels like summer again for our local businesses. So it's really important to, shop small, support local, still come up for the weekend and support those local businesses. They really need our help right now.
This year's game set January 28th through the 31st, and coming up tonight on KCAU 9 News at 10, we'll hear from some of those looking to get involved in this year's Winter Games. In fact, one gentleman who's been tied for over 30 years to that event, looking forward to yet another good time out on the ice.
They just need some colder temperatures to make sure that ice is shored up enough because, fortunately or unfortunately, we've had some above average temperatures.
We have, and it's one of the things they take they look at very closely, I should say.
Oh, for sure. Safety must be key.
That's indeed the case. Well, as folks bring home their bucks for the season, some folks hunting beginning at the end of the deer hunting season. What
trophies shed hunters are after coming up?
And it looks like a rain-snow mix will move in tonight with snow all day tomorrow. And clouds, they look to stick around after that snow moves out. Details on all of that after the break.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Tim Seaman, Sophie Erber, meteorologist Marcus Beasley, and sports director Jake Jones. This is KCAU 9 News at 6.
2 to 4 inches of snow expected, 15 to 30 degree wind chill values, moderate travel impacts, and 15-mile-per-hour winds. So it's not going to be too bad of a storm for most Siouxlanders. 30 degrees tonight for your low temperature. Tomorrow, 34 degrees for your high with snow showers. And your 9 on 9 forecast showing that we are going to see fairly steady temperatures. 35 Thursday, 31 Friday with a 20% chance of flurries. Upper 20s, low 30s Saturday and Sunday, and then next week it looks like low 30s continue. So at least we are going to see some seasonal temperatures for this time of year. Sophie and Tim?
Yeah, thanks, Marcus. We'll get the shovels ready.
Yes, and for some people, the most exciting season isn't fall or winter, it's shedding season.
Well, the upcoming antler shedding season is so exciting for a lot of folks. We'll have that coming up next. Well, deer season is coming to an end, but there is another form of hunting that's going to be perfect in the coming weeks.
I haven't even heard about this. So Jamie Travers shows you what you might find next time you're out in a wooded area.
Shed hunting is a sport that people do as the hunting season winds down.
It kind of gives you an alternate way to hunt deer, and you might think of it that way. And it's the process of going through the woods or the fields or whatever and looking for antler sheds that the bucks give off or that they lose after the mating season is over.
This happens as bucks' testosterone levels drop and their antlers are no longer needed from mid to late January into February, and is a fun way to enjoy nature during the winter.
You don't have to know anything about hunting. You don't have to be a hunter. You don't need a license or anything like that. It's just you can bring the kids and go out and do it. It's a neat family activity even.
The best place to look for sheds is the same place where you look for deer.
Conservation areas are good places, state parks, or if you've got property anywhere where there's deer, it's a good place to look for them.
You don't have to go far. Even St. Louis County has a lot of wooded areas. Zarlinga says if you're in a hilly area, look on south-facing slopes that receive a lot of sunlight because that's where deer like to lay down and hang out.
If you're in a more flat area, if you can find a place like where there's a borderline between woods and fields, that's usually where they also like to hang out. And another place to look is near water sources.
Some tips to help give you an advantage: bring binoculars. Those help distinguish antler tines from sticks.
Going on a cloudy day, because the light is a lot more even, makes things easier to spot. You're not dealing with those harsh shadows. And the other thing would be sometimes after a rain, it's good because when it rains, it'll make those antlers glisten sometimes, and it'll also sometimes darken the surrounding leaves, so it just makes them stand out, increases the contrast a little bit more.
You can bring the antlers home, but Zarlinga reminds us that if you find antlers attached to a skull, you must contact your local conservation agent within 24 hours to let them know you have them.
If you didn't get that big buck regular hunting season, you might get its antlers after the hunting season.
The NAIA announcing a new game headed to the Tyson this year.
Yeah, Jake will fill us in on the details next in sports.